How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to another video. I put out a poll last month about whether or not you all would rather have me build an Endor MOC or a MOC inspired by the TV show The Boys, and Endor won by a landslide. I've been working hard to get this MOC out, so let's get into it. I had this old sketch laying around of an Endor MOC from about a year ago, so I decided to just finally bring this one to life. Before I start building, I want to give a quick pro tip that helps me when building MOCs. If I'm ever feeling stuck or unmotivated to build, I always will build some minifigures I plan on using in the MOC. Maybe it just reminds me of being a kid, but it really gets the creative juices flowing and helps me be more imaginative. And I'm almost always more motivated after to build a MOC around the minifigures. I started by placing down some 16 by 16 and 8 by 16 plates for the base. I'm always referencing the sketch at the beginning of my build process to make sure I'm getting the size roughly correct. It doesn't need to be perfect though. My MOCs tend to change a decent amount throughout my creative process. I then connected all the plates with some 2x4 bricks. Once all the plates were secure, I added some modified bricks with studs on the side all around the outside of the base. I then flipped it over and added some 2x16 plates to secure the base even more. This also gives me the perfect depth, so the modified bricks with studs on the side are flush with the ground. This makes building off of them very easy. Next, I added plates all around the outside of the modified bricks. Here's when I start roughly sculpting what the landscape around the MOC is going to look like using bricks and plates. I don't have a ton of reddish brown parts in my collection, so I have to use the parts I have sparingly and strategically, which is why you can see I'm using a lot of tan bricks right now, because they won't be seen in the final pictures. For the landscape, I'm using a lot of cheese slopes, 1x2 slopes and rounded slopes, tiles and rounded tiles, and other miscellaneous slopes I can find. Once that outside layer is done, it's time to add a layer of wedge plates and rounded wedge plates to cover up all of those filler bricks. This is a great technique and makes the landscape look more natural. Once the layer of plates was down, I then went over it once more with another layer of wedge plates and tiles and rounded tiles. I try to make sure there is a 1 stud indent though. This again makes the landscape look more curved and organic. Now that the landscape is mostly done around the base, I need to work on the crashed ATST. I am using dark brown to simulate the dark layer of dirt that came up from the impact of the crash. The ATST is the custom one I built for my Hoth MOC. I thought it would be fun to get another use out of it before I eventually part it out. I used a lot of bricks and plates and also rounded slopes, wedge bricks, and cheese slopes. Next, I started just filling in some gaps with filler brick, slowly working my way back. We've got a lot of building still left to do. I then dismantled the ATST a little bit more to make it look damaged. I added some wires and took off a lot of the tiles to showcase more of the studs. It looks pretty good so far. It definitely needs some more details though around it. I decided it was time to work more on the right side of the MOC. Over here, I envisioned almost a large log from a fallen tree that Han Solo, Princess Leia are walking through. I wasn't able to 100% get the look I wanted due to my lack of reddish brown parts, so I kinda needed to just improvise and trust the process. I think I still am pretty happy with it though. I also think I just need to keep building and not look at it for too long. It's good to take breaks and look at it at a later time with fresh eyes. This is at least what my cat told me to do. Next, I started filling in more gaps with filler brick. I then worked on building up the tunnel section a bit more by making the top thicker. I thought it needed a bit more depth. I also worked on the side of it by building up some of the landscape using snot bricks and slopes. This is exactly how I built most of the landscape in my most recent Dune MOC. For whatever reason this day I decided to start building some of the large trees. Even though I was not ready to incorporate them into the MOC yet. I used a very similar technique to what they used in this recent Endor LEGO set, so if you need help building large redwood type trees, just check out those instructions online because that's exactly what I did. I did change up the design quite a bit though. I stacked a bunch of snot bricks and then added a combination of plates, tiles, and jumper plates all around it. I also added some dark green tiles and rounded tiles near the bottom to act almost as moss. It was time to work more on this section of the MOC. I used Duplo bricks as the filler because they take up way more space and make building much quicker. I then added regular system bricks on top of the Duplo so I could eventually build off of them in more detail. I also just finished adding filler brick everywhere else on the MOC where it was needed. Here's what I have so far. It's definitely starting to look more how I want it to look, and the shape is really starting to form. I'm going to continue this dark tan pathway all up along the MOC onto the top of the MOC. My cat was really demanding some attention here, so I needed to take a pause building. For the path, I mostly used dark tan tiles, rounded tiles, wedge bricks, and some dark orange spots to add another pop of color. This technique I use to make the landscape almost rounded is a great way to make your landscape look more natural and organic. I'm on the final day of building now. I need to finish this top section, add the large trees, all the foliage, and the minifigures. I decided to place a large tree up on this section. I still need to add all the branches and leaves. For the leaves, I just used the 6x5 plant leaf pieces with a bunch of the plant plates with 3 leaves on top. I wanted the tree leaves to have a gradient, so the top leaves would be a light green, then regular green, and on the bottom would be dark green. Almost to simulate that the sun has impacted the leaves on top of the trees more so than the leaves on the bottom. I really like the way it looks, and I haven't seen anyone else do this in an Endor MOC before. Here are some other plant designs I came up with. All very simple to make and very effective. The MOC is almost done. I just need to add the rest of the foliage and minifigures, then take pictures in my light box. This MOC took me almost exactly 3 weeks to build. There's something so special about building like this, even more so than building LEGO sets. Doing something with your hands like this is just such a great way to ground yourself, relax, and just decompress after a long day. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you like the final pictures. Thanks again for watching.